Hi guys, guess what? I'm gonna say, ooh, this is gonna be a quick one because this time it was me and little one out on a day trip. He's just fallen asleep on the way back home in the car. It was close by, so I just popped him upstairs into his bed, or rather into my bed. And I don't want, I'm just keeping an eye on the time. I don't want him to sleep too late, otherwise he will never go to bed tonight. So what I thought is I will talk to you quickly about my favourite mulberry leather, my favourite mulberry finish, which is a real classic. So I'm probably being really boring here, not unusual, but I thought we'll just very quickly cover kind of what it looks like, what it behaves like, and a little bit about care. So there. Now, as you can see here, we're not talking about something particularly exotic, as I said, classic. So really we're talking about, let's let the cat out of the sack, mulberry oak finish. And most of these are printed, and I also brought one which isn't really oak, but just to show you a difference on a vintage model. So classic oak is what I have on this purse. And it is, I'm just trying, so I'm not getting too much reflection on there. It's a really warm brown tone, so it's darker than deer, has more character than deer. Deer is a bit flatter and cleaner, maybe a little bit more sophisticated, and less rustic than oak. Oak is definitely one of those leathers which doesn't necessarily look, I don't know, I don't want to use the wrong word, but it doesn't look that refined and that fine and that delicate. To me, it looks a bit more rustic, but the irony of it is that it is actually can be quite sensitive. But you know what? Actually, I love leathers developing a patina. I love leather developing signs of aging, and especially if it's something that I handle a lot and that's been to a lot of places with me, I really don't mind it getting the odd scratch. But having said that, the models of the bags that I have are sort of bags that you use, there should be everyday bags, and they're not the sort of special occasions I'm dressing up and I want to carry a really pretty little handbag. Then probably a little scratch on a delicate finish would annoy me, but with this I think it won't. Well, remind me in a year, maybe we'll see. So this is my most recent oak acquisition, I think, yeah, and it is the French purse in oak. I will do a full review on it in terms of what I fit in after having used it for a few weeks, but so far I really love it. I've moved out of my Prada Continental, which was a lot wider. Now this is a bit thicker, but I probably fit in more or at least the same, and I can sort of, the height means, or rather the lack and length means I can sort of stand it up in the bag, as well as not having to lie it flat on the side, so it doesn't actually take up as much space anymore, and that was really the objective of moving into a smaller purse. Anyway, so oak finished on that, flat. This is the only plain oak finish I have at the moment. If you've read any of my other blog posts, you might have seen that I am thinking, or very hard thinking, about buying a Cara, and if I buy one, that will be in oak, and it will be in this oak finish. The other oak items I have here at the moment are printed oak. Now what you will have seen, probably if you've seen any of my other videos, is my Ledbury, which I've converted. So you see the hooks on there. There I wanted to show you really some of the wear that you will get and what it looks like. So there the corners are starting to wear a little bit, sort of rubbing. It's just getting a little bit lighter. And overall the leather does darken, so if I look specifically at the handles, it just develops a patina. So without doubt there will be a little bit of dirt on there because you're touching it with your hands, and I don't know, I'm not a big hand cream wearer, but you always touch other things with your hand, money or whatever, and then you grab your bag, so of course there will be a little bit of dirt to it, but actually yeah, I would say most of it will be patina because you don't touch your bag everywhere with your hand constantly. Oak is also prone to showing scratches, but that's what I like about the printed finish, is they all really kind of blend in. And even with the sort of normal oak finish, which actually this one kind of on the inside, I think when you get it from new and it starts to scratch, you will notice each individual one. But then as the bag ages, and hopefully you'll be using her a lot, more and more scratches means everything sort of blends into one, and it just gets a sort of rustic lived-in feel, and that's what I love about it, really. So that's the Ledbury. And another characteristic of the printed oak or printed leather in general is that it holds its shape a bit better than the normal non-printed leathers, and that's just purely because of the structure of the leather after it's been printed. So I've got that one, and then I've got an Alexa, which isn't stuffed at the moment. So you see, normally an Alexa in this position will just puddle, especially obviously with the soft buffalo, but even with the polished buffalo she won't stand up quite as straight as that. But with this being a printed oak, again, much more sturdy, a little bit heavier than a normal Alexa as well, but not massively so. And this one has the suede on the inside. So again, I'm just trying to find something whether we have any scratches, but this one is in really good condition. So we've got tiny bits of lightening again on the brightening lightening on the corners, but it's really not very noticeable, and I think this one will age really nicely. And then something that made me smile when I took her out of the bag, because she still smells new. It's beautiful. Just smell it from here, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's my base water, which I have to admit, terrible. I haven't really used much yet, only a couple of times. But my rule of if I don't use her, then she has to go, for this one I've pretty much ignored, just because I love her so much. And again, here what I like is obviously having the oak on a large item, which is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, but also because of the structure again. So you've got a base water which will hold its shape much better. Now this one actually has this one have a, no, it doesn't even have a Samorga in. This one doesn't even have a bag insert in it, and still holds a shape really well. Put the cloche on the side there, by the way, because when I did use it, and then the thing flapping there just did my head in. So anyway, there we go. And the last thing I'm going to show you, this isn't actually oak. I believe this is teak coloured, so it's slightly darker than the oak, although I think it'd be hard to tell, to be honest. Just a tick darker. And because it's vintage and it's a slightly heavier leather, I believe this is what they would have called Congo. But what I think is very similar in terms of behaviour is the patina it develops, and that sort of shine, that should hopefully happen to the printed oak as well. And it's just sort of, yeah, I don't know, it's just a sort of gentle sign of aging and maturity. God, I'm blabbing on here. But it does look beautiful, really glossy, really full of character, with the odd bit that's darker just because you touch it more there. And yeah, just really nice, and I'm just a sucker for that. So what I was going to show you as well, so I'm not just waxing lyrical over oak or printed oak, just quickly how to protect them. What I do if it's a bag that I use a lot, and her I've been using a lot, I will make sure I spray her, depending on which season we're in, how much rain she might get, probably spray her every couple of months. And then I literally just go outside in the porch. I won't do it in here because it does smell. Do this and just apply like that all the way around, underneath, and then I open up just in case and do this. then I let it dry, and then I just probably sort of do the handles, hold it like that, do it over the handles, and that way she's not only protected from rain, but also should anything get spilt on her, or you know, too much sort of dirt or aging or whatever. But what I do every few months, not as often as the protecting against rain and so on, is I apply this Colonel, which is a leather gel. It's a bit cheaper if you get it in the pump than in the little tubs. I think the tubs are like £7 or £8 at Mulberry or something, and this one was about 13, and it's about 4 times as much or something, or 3 times as much. Can't remember how much was in the little tubs. Anyway, it is quite a bit cheaper. So it's all German things on there. So what I do is, you need to make sure you do it before you do this, because what you do with this is you seal the leather, you protect the leather from anything getting into it. And what you want to do with this is you really want to get it, you want it to get into the leather. So I'm just going to pump a little bit on there, and then I'm just going to apply it. And there I make sure that especially things like corners that sort of dry out, or high traffic areas, I guess, where you touch the bag a lot. The cloth I'm using is literally an old t-shirt. I might have bought that in a second hand in a charity shop purely for this purpose. It's just soft jersey cloth, and that works really well. And I chuck them into the wash every few, whatever, when I feel they get a bit too, they smell too much of the colonel stuff or whatever. So all I'm doing is I'm sort of applying it fairly liberally, because I haven't done this one for a bit, and just let it sit on there. Now the thing with the oak, with the printed oak, is obviously you've got the little, the structure, the little gaps in between here. So whereas with oak, you will just sort of, let me show it there, put it on, and then you can't really see much of it because it goes straight into the leather. Here you've got it sitting in the ridges. So what I do is I apply it first, and probably will do it pretty much all the way around the bag, and then I go back to the bit where I started. I use a dry part of the cloth and sort of polish over, and just go a little bit into the ridges, and just make sure that there's none of that whiteness left. I have had a bag before that had really tricky corners, and unfortunately I don't have it anymore, but I had a very soft little brush that I then used for the corners and for the little gaps, to just sort of take out the excess of the gel. So there. Don't want to sit here forever now in front of the camera and do this. I will do this properly tonight whilst I watch some rubbish that's on the telly, or have a chat with my other half. I'm sure he will enjoy that. So there, give it a nice polish, nice rub in, and then most of it should just disappear. And depending on how dry the leather obviously is, you will see how much it takes up. So she might just go, I'm really thirsty and I'm taking all of this in, or she might go, nah, and a lot of it will sit on top, in which case you just take it off with your cloth. So there we go. And actually the corner you saw earlier, now this is an untreated corner now. Hold on, let me show you this one. This one there, you see it's quite scuffed, quite light, and this one is the one we've done now. Now obviously it's still a little bit wet, but it definitely, I can tell you, it definitely helps improve the appearance of that, and it certainly protects against it wearing further too quickly. So there, I hope you found this useful. I hope I didn't blab on too much, because I'm really not going to redo this now. I'm going to have to go and wake up little one. So thanks for watching, and do let me know what you think. Bye!